Time, money, skill, passion, these are factors that weigh heavily on how impressive an anime looks. When one or some of these factors are lacking, it can really show on screen. Just look at 1995's Neon Genesis Evangelion to see what happens when the money dries up, the time runs out, and the skill becomes meaningless without those resources. Yet the passion remains and is enough to elevate the end result beyond whatever constraints the suits have shackled on the creator. A still image of an elevator or a giant holding a helpless person in its grasp become iconic in a way, almost an act of defiance of the limitations placed on Anno. The suits were wrong, the anime took off, and Anno got the money and time to do it over the way he wanted, and it looked like this. Breathtaking. How then to explain the obvious drop in animation quality between One Punch Man Season 1, which looked like this, and One Punch Man Seasons 2 and 3, the latest of which looks like this? The start of the season, a decision was made to continue the series, time was allocated, money was provided, and it looks like this. Panning over or tilting up still frames, maybe with some flapping lips, motionless backgrounds with frozen onlookers, copy and paste crowds. One Punch Man is part love letter, part parody, all comedy action. Is this a failed attempt at parodying the struggles faced by some anime studios, with the joke falling flat? Or is this just low-effort animation? How can this be explained? "They're being faithful to the manga," some supporters exclaim. Fair enough. I expect that in the character designs, the plot, the tone. But this is animation. It must go beyond what was on the page, bring movement to the panels, fill in what happens between those panels, elevate. In Bocchi the Rock, the band struggles with nerves during the first song of their first ever concert. Bocchi takes it upon herself to turn things around, rallies the other members, and they blow the doors off with their second song. When you read the manga, you have to add all of that yourself. For the anime, as I mentioned in my last video, the songs had to be written with music and lyrics not present in the manga. An actual band had to perform that song with motion capture and instructions to replicate the way each girl moved, and some of the voice actors had to sing. It looked like this. All of this is unseen within the panels, between the panels, and it takes what was on the page and makes it, well, animation. That anime came out in the fall of 2022. By March of 2023, the manga had sold an estimated 2 million copies and reached 3 million by the beginning of 2024. The studio, Cloverworks, chose to invest a lot of time, money, and talent into an anime based on a manga that had under 2 million books in circulation, if my data is correct. But then again, that is Cloverworks, so if you know Spy Family, you know what they can put out. By contrast, Spy Family is at a much higher sales tier, just under 40 million copies sold. How about One Punch Man? In the same ballpark, around 35 million copies sold. Why does Season 3 of Spy Family look like this, and One Punch Man look like this? I guess it's not fair to compare studios. Maybe that is the problem. One Punch Man Season 1 was produced by Madhouse, and they set the bar pretty high. Seasons 2 and 3 have been made by JC staff. What else have they made? Just a few things that I really like, along with countless others. How about the cute Potemayo, based on a humorous 4-panel comic strip? Looks pretty good. Not your thing? Not the same as One Punch Man? Toradora then? Looks amazing. Still not like One Punch Man? Okay. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon or danmachi? Action, comedy, long plot lines, multiple seasons, no skimping on the animation, even in the talking scenes and in the action scenes. Highest level animation, no complaints from me. Of course, there is also the movie that spawned from the Konosuba series, Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Legend of Crimson. JC staff doesn't do the regular series, but they produced this movie. Outstanding animation. I know that there are various directors involved with each project, But there are people at the top of the studio who make those choices, the same people who decide how much time and money to allocate, I suppose. It all comes down to passion. The time would be there. The money would be there. The personnel with the necessary skills would be there. But some people high up in the decision-making tree don't think One Punch Man is worth that. They don't think One Punch Man, with the sales and popularity of his source material along the lines of The Apothecary Diaries at 40 million copies sold, Spy Family, as mentioned above, the outstanding Frieren, Beyond Journey's End at 32 million copies, Chainsaw Man at 31 million copies. These are One Punch Man's peers in print. Why not in anime quality as well? The second episode of Season 3 has dropped, and it had a little action, but nothing to write home about. It's good enough, I guess, as long as the plot and the humor remain a draw for viewers. But there is so much better out there, even going back 10, 20, 30 years. Heck, One Punch Man Season 1 was released 10 years ago and involved way more effort than what we're getting now. If JC staff is not going to animate this material at the level they are capable of as a studio, as seen with Danmachi and the Konosuba movie, if they're not going to assign the right people to the project, if they're not going to make sure that time and money are there to create something epic, it can only mean they think One Punch Man doesn't deserve A-list treatment. They don't have the passion to do their best work as a studio. And that is what disappoints me. It might even be better not to make anything at all. Anyway, what do you think? Did episode 2 bring enough to the table to satisfy you? Are you watching for the plot and don't care how it looks? Are there other anime that let you down visually, especially later in the run? Leave a comment and share your thoughts. While you're at it, leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos on entertainment topics of all kinds. Everything helps. Thanks for watching. See you next time.